So let's start our sessions today. First of all, let us move to strings. So what are the functions that are available for string? There are many functions available. So let us go through them one by one. Let us open the IDLE. Okay, so we have already discussed the join function. So let us check out some other functions as well. So string also has a function called replace, which replaces characters passed into the function. So let us check that out. Suppose we have, let us take a random string, then dot replace. So excuse me. Now we need to provide the substring that we want to replace. So let us suppose replace b with n. Okay, so b comma n, and then we have the option of providing a parameter named count. What count does is it replaces the first count number of occurrences that has been passed into the parameter. So if we say count is 1, then only the first occurrence of b will be replaced with n, and the others will be left as it is. We will check it out later. First, let us do it. Just replace everything. So as you see, b has been replaced. Now let us check another string. B01. Okay. Let us replace occurrences of j with something like q for the first two occurrences, or rather let us take 3. So sorry, forgot to write the dot and then call the replace function. So as we can see, the first 3 occurrences of j, that is here, then here, and then this one, these 3 have been replaced with q. Okay, next we have some functions that checks whether a string contains only alphabets or numbers or special characters, or is it an alphanumeric string. For that we have various functions. So let us take them out one by one. Suppose the one for checking if a string is alphanumeric is dot is alpha. Sorry, this one is not for alphanumeric. This one is for only if the for asking if the string only contains alphabetical, means alphabets only. That one was is, let us check them out. Yes, it is alphanumeric, but it is not only alphabetic because it also contains numbers. Then we have another one is num, for checking if a string is numeric. The function name. Okay, let us check them out one by one. Let us go to the Python docs. And now as we see, it is digit. Sorry, that was my bad. As we can see, it returns false. Let us check another string. Yes, it returns true. Next we can check for numeric types, like if the character contains only numbers. If then we also have is lower checks if all the characters are in lowercase. Is capital checks if all. So then we also have is printable is for checking whether all the printable characters are present. So as we can see, it is explained here. Returns true if all characters in string are printable or the string is empty. So what do we mean by printable characters? Printable characters are those characters defined um, in the Unicode character database, except the ASCII space, which is considered printable. Not that. So what we mean by this is, let us find out all the printable characters. Import string and let's print them. So these are all the printable characters. If the character is present in here, then means if the string contains characters that are present in here, then the string is said to be a printable string. If some other strings are present, means other strings other than defined in here, then the string is said to be not printable and it returns, this function returns false, that is printable returns false. Next we have space to check whether the whether the string contains any space or not. Then we have super if it is used to check if all the characters are uppercased. Then we don't. All right, we have completed all the checks, means for checking if a string contains something or not. Then after that we have some pretty interesting functions, as we can see here, for making all the characters in a string uppercase. We can do this dot capitalize. So we can understand this better if we use some more words in the string. So what capitalize does basically is it takes the string as the input, then it capitalizes only the first character, not everything. Then what we have here is case hold. We don't need it as such. Then we have count. Count is a very useful function. We can take the string and count the number of characters present. Count the number of, suppose character is D, so let us count the number of D's in here. we get that as 2. So we have only 2 occurrences of D, that is D is present here, and where else? D. Okay, so suppose we want to find out that occurrence, then what we can do is we copy this and write find. First occurrence is at 0th index, let us find out the next occurrence. Then what we need to do here is it means the find function always will return the lowest index. So we need to define, in order to find the next occurrence, we need to define the next starting index as the next index of the first occurrence that we have found. So let us give here 1. So as we can see, it occurs at the position 53. So it is near the end. So here we have another D at position number, means at index 53. Then another important one we have is for checking if the string ends with some specific substring. So we pass the substring as this. We also have the start and end optional parameters for ends with to specify the indexes within which we want to find that specific character. Like suppose we want to check this substring of the given string, if this thing ends with some specific substring, for that we can use the start and end. So let us check it out. So ends with, we'll be checking this segment. So start will be around 20, 30. Okay, let us take 25. We can use specific count, but we are taking just overall round offs for checking the function out if it ends in JK, yeah, or yeah, JK. And JJ, and let us check this. Let us take this whole one, then it will be easier. As we see, the string ends in JJ, so we can check if a string ends with a specific substring. Next we have index. It is used to return the index of the specific substring occurrence. That is, unlike find, it raises value error. That is, suppose we want to find something in a given string, we pass it in find, we do and find does not gets it, then no error is raised. But for if we use the index function, then if that substring is not present, then a value error is raised. So we need to be careful when to use count, when to use find, and when to use index. Okay, next we have discussed all this. Join also we have discussed in previous session. All right, lower. So what lower does is it converts everything into lowercase. So if we take this and do dot lower, then everything goes into lowercase. So it works this way. Next, what we have is partition. Yeah. So what partition does is we need to provide a substring that is used as a separator to separate the string into three subparts, and a tuple is returned. So what do we mean by that? Let us run and check it out. Partition around the middle of the state of the string. So let us use this. Yes, so what we find is it has been a tuple has been returned by cutting the string from this specific substring that we pass, that is left of it forms the first element, then this thing forms the second element of the tuple, and the rest of the other part forms the third element of the tuple. We have already discussed replace, rfind. Okay, what rfind does is find starts from the left for searching any substring that is passed, but rfind starts from the right.Rindex also works just the same. It starts from the right. All these functions that have r at the r as prefix works from the right. Then dot split, yes, we have discussed dot split. Yeah, so we have not discussed this one. Split lines. What split lines does is whatever we pass as key pends, it uses that as the separator and returns a list of lines in strings. So we can do something like this. Okay, then for again backslash n, then again something, then again backslash n, something, and backslash n. Let's do dot split lines. As we can see, a list has been returned splitting from the backslash n. So what backslash n means, that is the line feed, that is new line. Next we have starts with. Starts with is just the opposite of ends with. It checks the first part, if that pass means the substring that we pass, if that string starts with that specific substring or not. Then swap case, it swaps the uppercase characters to lowercase and lowercase characters to uppercase. Title, what title does is it capitalizes the first letter of the words in that string. Then we have upper, it returns all the characters in uppercase. So if we do dot upper here, and everything goes uppercase. And with this we have completed most of the functions of the string that we generally need while programming. Next, let us move to the list. And in Python, the lists have a function named sort. What sort does is it sorts the array, and we don't need to write any, means it is the inbuilt sorting function for sorting any array. So if any program is given like sort, where we need to use sort an array or a list, then if we have a list, we can use this function, that is the sort function. So let us take something, some list. So something, and then we do dot sort. We did not store the result. We need to print this. So print the result. So as we see here, we get a sorted list. And other than that, what we also have is list comprehensions. List comprehensions are very useful thing. We will not be covering list comprehension here, but I will be showing an example as how list comprehension is done, so that you get a general idea. Whenever you need to make a list, means fill a list, or like you want to do something, means list comprehension is much faster than doing something using a for loop. So suppose you are building a list or filling a list with zeros, uh, then list comprehension is a much more preferred way and faster way of doing things rather than using the for loop. So how do we write that? So suppose we want a array 0 4, I mean an array filled with n number of zeros. So what we will write here is 0 for x in range n. So let us take it to be 450. So here we go. As you can see, we have 5 zeros. So in a similar way, we can store something else. Like suppose we want to store 1 to 5. So we'll do x plus 1. And we have everything. These are, means not beginner level things, so you can learn them as you uh, learn new concepts, and as you move through competitive programming, you will learn how to use them. Next we have tuples. There are not many functions in tuples. We can use the min and max functions with tuple, and no, there are not much functions present in for the tuple. And then let us check the dictionary. So dictionary has this length returns the length of dictionary or a tuple or a list or even a string. So this is an important thing to remember. We can check this length of part 2. It has 5 elements, so 5 is its length. Next, we have seen how to you call values from dictionary and all. Copy, get, pop. No, not much. Yeah, let us check out the dictionaries just for the sake of it. Mm, all right. Next, let us check what is there for D1. Oh, sorry, it was Dict 1. Okay. It is easy. Then we can get the keys of the dictionary like this. We get the keys as the keys are returned. For the values, we write values, and the values are returned. These values are returned, and if we want to check if item is present or not, we can use the get. It is similar to calling the keys like this. So same thing, and then we can delete the key value pairs like this. So here we go. We have completed most of the functions of dictionaries also. So this was it for today's session. Now for the assignment, let us check out a problem on code shape, a very basic one to begin with, so that we get a hang of how to use online compilers and how the competitive programming environments work. So beginner level. Yeah, okay, this problem is a good one for the beginner level or to begin with. So okay, this one will be the assignment for today. I am sharing it in the chat. Okay, so this was it for today's session. Hope you have fun learning other functions by exploring, and also best of luck for solving the problem on CodeChef. So meet you in the next session.